This is the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer.
Paul Ferguson, he is the son of Shanda Ark. She's the mom who tortured her son, or basically employed Paul to do a lot of her bidding for her. She's locked away for the rest of her life, and now it looks like Paul might be as well. 30 to 100 years is the sentence that he got, even after making an arrangement of testify against your mom. Maybe we'll go light on you. I guess that was a big maybe. Joining me to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI Special Agent. What's your reaction to this verdict of 30 to 100 years for Paul?
Well, I am surprised. I can tell you, in the federal system, when we make a deal with you, we actually really do the best we can for you with that deal. This doesn't seem to be that. Obviously, I guess he could have been looking at life without parole like his mom. This does give some room, but I was actually surprised, A, because he cooperated, B, because I think at least to some degree he was controlled by her, manipulated, and emotionally a hot mess. But there's the text messages, and I think that was the ultimate reason this judge went so hard. I think certainly he clearly knew the torture he was putting on his brother.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where you look at this and you feel bad for victims. And I certainly believe that Paul, in a sense, is a victim of his mother. But at the same point, he's someone who, this is all he's known from childhood. He's been abused. He's been treated horribly. He's been trained to treat other people horribly and without regard for emotion. I think the judge clearly, even flat out said, questions whether or not he's capable of having any sort of empathy. And it's very easy to see why he wouldn't. And look at his upbringing. This is a product of conditioning. In so many cases, I look at him and go, I wish that the judge would be looking a little more forward, thinking, how can we prevent this person from violating others? I think that's what he did in this case. As much as I'd like to have some grace, the reality is this is an extremely broken person who likely is not going to be fixed anytime soon, if ever.
Well, I wish the judge would have ordered, and I don't think he did, correct me if I'm wrong, any sort of mandatory counseling, sessions, anything like that. And I know he's going to prison. He likely might even be in solitary confinement because, again, he's somewhat high profile. He was, tortured a child to death. So he might not be well received in general population. In addition, he's so meek and slight that I think prison is going to be so hard on him. I don't know. For some reason, Tony, I'd like to think that he could have been saved. It's a little bit on the Gypsy Rose vibe.
Yeah.
That you have somebody that's been so abused for so long, but maybe there could have been hope for him.
And I really wonder, and it seems when I first heard the verdict, I had not seen it being read or the judge giving his 20-minute speech about it. It was just, here's the verdict, 30 to 100 years. And I thought, oh my gosh, like it feels like the judge didn't take into account what this kid has been through. And then I heard the judge give the actual 20-minute speech to him. And it really seems like he did take into account everything, looking at the psych evals that had been done, looking at other statements that had been made by other people who'd been affected by Paul Ferguson and the abuse that he inflicted on them, seemingly with some sort of joy. And again, that's how he's conditioned to be. That's what you're going to get. At the same time, though, what do you do with someone like Paul? It feels like this is an abused, I'm not trying to compare him to an animal, but it seems like an abused animal, if you will, that's being thrown into a pack of wolves in a prison system. Something should be done. There certainly needs to be accountability here, but is putting him in maximum security prison for at least the next 30 years gonna do much? Or is that just really the best thing to do for someone who was capable and did, in fact, torture his brother to death?
Well, it's a balancing act, right? I mean, the number one thing prison is supposed to do is punish for a wrong. And then you hope in that process there can be some rehabilitation for the offender. in this case, I don't think there's any way he's going to have any chance at being rehabilitated. Yet, I think out of all the offenders we see, he has some hope if he ever had counseling and some sort of realization of what it's like to be a real human and not to just be abused and to inflict abuse. So I'm a little torn on this one, Tony. I don't know why. I probably should be harder core at him, but I just think that's all he's ever known.
Yeah, that's where I keep going back to on this. Do you think, and this is an interesting one because I've heard different opinions on it. What was your take? Did he show remorse at sentencing? Was he truly sorry for what he had done, or was he more sorry that he got caught?
I really thought he was sorry for what he had done. Now, again, those text messages, that's the problem. But, in the end, he was asking to feed him. He's like, Mom, he's rail thin, I think he said. Bone thin, I think was the exact word. I mean, there were times that he seemed to have the realization that, this is really bad. Tony, it's when you see these same situations over and over, like for him, it becomes normal. The abuse he was inflicting, the way he looked, all of those things all of a sudden become so normalized, you don't know what normal is anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what bothers me, I think.
Well, and what bothers me too is we look at this and we're looking at it straight from the number scale of, okay, this happened to you before you were 18, then you turned 18 and you're 19, 20, 21, however old he got to be, early 20s, I believe, before all of this went down. It's just a number at the end of the day. This is all he knew. He never left the care of his mom and the abuse that she was inflicting on him. It's not like suddenly a light bulb, I think, went off in his head at 18 going, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. That would have been going off at 15, at 16, at 17, at 18. But if you don't know that that's anything wrong or that's anything different from, healthy behavior or normal behavior within your home, it's just a number. And it's basically a legal milestone for terms of how you can be charged or not.
I agree with that, but I will say this. I think he definitely knew it was wrong. I think there is no doubt he needs severe punishment. In other words, he needs to serve a lot of time. But I don't know if he deserves to serve the rest of his life. But look at what he did to his little brother. His little brother had hell on earth and is dead now at such a young age. He had no chance. So when I think of it in those terms, then I understand the judge's decision.
Sick of the ads?
We are too.
Start listening with no commercials now and get access to all of our episodes in advance of everyone else.
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
True Crime Today Premium Plus.
Sign up now.